Hello, I'm Steve Berry, and I've been standing next to motorbikes and talking about them for about 35 years now. But in this part of the world, I've been around for around 18 months, this being Manor Park Classics, the largest fixed auction venue for classic cars and motorcycles in the UK. For quite a bit of that time, I've been banging on about the mezzanine. And you've probably been thinking, why does he keep going on about it? Well, have a look at it. Isn't it fantastic? Get yourself down here if you can to our lovely premises here near Runcorn in Cheshire. It's dead easy to get here off the motorway. I sometimes come on the train. It takes 20 minutes from Manchester city centre. Get yourself down here. What a collection of bikes we've got in this sale that's coming up. Amazing variety, bikes from every decade, bikes of every style. I'm going to shut up now and get on with the preview. Look at our mezzanine. Isn't it great? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you again, Berry? So soon? Well, yeah, the content just keeps on coming. It was only about 2 weeks ago that we showed you the Adam White collection. We've got a load of bikes in this February sale from one guy, and you can watch that preview there. But we also have lots of other motorcycles, and look what we're starting with. I mean, I would prostrate myself in front of this machine, but I think Phil might get a bit excited. So I'm just going to stick with telling you that this is a 1999 Honda CBR900RRX Fireblade. A big long name for an iconic motorcycle. People use that word iconic all the time in the wrong context. And you're going to say, well, Berry, that's clearly not a religious painting done on wood in the Russian Orthodox style, which is what an icon is. I'm sure you know that. But I would say that, like those religious images, this is a bike that inspires religious devotion, because it was the bike that changed motorcycling. I was just looking at it a minute ago. That 900cc inline double overhead cam 16 valve 4-cylinder engine. How compact it is, how narrow it is, because we've got some other bikes, Japanese motorcycles of a similar capacity coming up, and the engine's absolutely massive. How did Honda do it? Well, because they're Honda. This bike's a legend, and this example is almost a perfect 1999 blade. Full service history, one owner from new. Just look at it. The only things that I can see that aren't standard, it's got a micron pipe on it. It's got a hugger, just, you know, nothing too fancy on the back. Look at that, it's even got a luggage rack. How practical. You could go touring on it. In fact, you kind of can. I know a bloke who used one of these to commute between Berwick-on-Tweed and London. Lived in Berwick-on-Tweed, worked in London, and his choice of bike for a commuter bike was a blade, and he said it was perfect. As long as you went fast enough, it was quite comfortable. That did get him in trouble a couple of times, but, you know, then them's the brakes. Look, it's even got the standard indicators. The paint, I don't really know what to say, because I can't find fault. I look around these bikes thinking, where can I see wear and tear? Where can I see things that need attention, replacements, refurbishment? I can't see anything. It's just ready to go right now. A 99 blade. Yes, gentlemen. Oh, it's going to be 40 years old soon, this bike. Look at it. Where would you get another one? £4,500 to £5,000 on the 99. One owner from new Honda CBR900RRX X. Sorry, I'm getting my Blackbirds and my Fireblades mixed up. Never do that. One owner, full service history, Minter. Now, when you say mint, I know the owner of this bike. He's a very meticulous man. Very, very meticulous man. He's built some amazing bikes down the years, and almost all of them, in fact, I can't think of one that he did that wasn't, were Ducatis. A man who truly loves, understands, and appreciates the bikes from Bologna. 1099 liquid cooled 8 valve 90 degree L twin, stunning airbrush paint job. In fact, I also know the guy who did the paint job. And again, he is a guy with a worldwide reputation for quality. And Phil's a talented cameraman. I'm being nice to him. There's a reason, but you don't need to know. It's just fantastic. I don't know if he can show you how good this paint is, because it's got this pearl effect. Then there's this pinstriping. It's all in the Italian national colours as well. It kind of echoes Mike Halewood, but it's not retro. It's fantastic, and it cost a ton of money, this paint job. There's only less than 9,000 miles on this bike from brand new. Akrapovic Evo system. I'll bet that was expensive. All-ins dampers, carbon, 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 all over the place. Here, here. Open clutch basket so you can hear it hiss and rattle. People pull up to you next to you at the lights, don't they? Hey mate, there's something wrong with your bike. And you say, no, there's something right with my bike. It's a Ducati. Nobody makes bikes as good looking as they did. Am I saying did in the past tense? No, as they do. Yeah, don't be an old guy who doesn't think things should change. Yeah, they've changed. Sometimes change is good. Most of the times, no, don't go there, Berry. Remote brake adjuster, open clutch cover, Geartronic indicator. We've got the V5. It's a beautiful bike, no expense spared in building it, and then maintained, again, with no regard for how much that costs. It's come at a time of life where the guy's moving it on to somebody else who can appreciate it. You're getting it for a fraction of what it costs to build, because we reckon it'll sell for $7,750 to $8,250. Don't forget, all of the sales are subject to a buyer's premium of 15% on the hammer price. When Tom brings down his hammer, right? Tom's going to get me for that, isn't he, Phil? When he brings his hammer down, there is a 15% charge on top of that, and there's a minimum charge of 300 quid plus VAT. So there are fees, there are terms and conditions. Have a look on our website. Don't forget to register to bid. You've got to be in it to win it. What a beautiful bike. 2020, what would you say, Phil? Nod or shake. 2020 or 2020? Yeah, 2020. All right, 2020. 800RR MV Agusta. I love these sport wheels. Oh, the finish on this bike, the attention to detail. You've got to give it to the Italians. They know how to build a beautiful bike, and a bike that doesn't half go, look at it, look at the fit and finish. This bike looks brand new. I'm going to check the notes and find out if, once again, it is brand new, because we do tend to get a lot of bikes here at Manor Park that have covered like 8 miles in however many years. However, this one, the odometer, TBC. That's because it's digitalis, and for some reason we aren't able to check that. Looking at it, I'd say it's been out a couple of times. The tyres look new. There's absolutely no indication of wear on the discs or here on the fork leg. What a great looking bike. A tribute, as it was, to 75 years of Italian craftsmanship and engineering excellence. 75th anniversary of MV Agusta. There were perhaps some quiet years for the MV Agusta company, but you've got to admit, in their heyday, they utterly dominated Grand Prix motorcycle racing with people like the great Giacomo Agostini. I think I've said this before. I tried it on with my missus at Brooklands at a big Italian car and bike event. And the thing was, she said to me, you should be flattered. And the funny thing was, I was, because I thought, hey, Ago's tried it on with my missus. I think he tries it on with everyone's missus. Not that he's Italian. What are you going to do? I can't really tell you too much more about this because it just looks like a new bike. It comes with an anniversary presentation package because it is the 75th anniversary. 800RR. Full service history. We've got the keys. It's HPI clear. We've got the V5. The MOT is until July this year. The estimate on this one, £10,000 to £12,000. It just looks brand new to me. Here we go. You're thinking, what do you mean the Italians build the best looking bikes? Hello? Aprilia RS250, a bona fide classic. I knew this was going to be. I went on the launch, I think I've mentioned that before, of this bike in Italy. It was memorable. We had a great time. Then were the days when people used to fly me around the world and go, here, Steve, have a go on this. And then someone paid me. It was great. What a great bike. Not always great bikes, though. I generally found that the more dull and boring the motorcycle or scooter, the more spectacular the launch would be. With this one, they just invited us out to the factory, the Aprilia factory, and we just rolled them out of there. But what a bike. This one has done, from new, 3,976 miles in 26 years. That's almost criminal because they are fantastic to ride. They're physically larger, I think. In my head, I've ridden the KR1S, I've ridden RGB250s, TZRs, but to me, the Aprilia is a physically larger motorcycle. And I also think it's much better looking, although I do like the RGB250, and of course the engine in this RS250 was derived from that Suzuki twin. Two-stroke, 249cc, 6-speed gearbox. This one's had a new chain and sprocket, even though it's done less than 4,000 miles from new. It was a UK bike from new, 55 brake horsepower, Nikon exhausts. They're not branded, so the lads must have got that from the paperwork. We've got a large pack. You wouldn't think it'd need new. The standard Aprilia ones were very saucy. But, you know, the bike's 26 years old, so it's got these exhausts, Nikon. But it's got new tyres, new fuel hoses, and it's in great condition. This isn't my favourite paint job on these bikes. I like the black Chesterfield replica. I'll tell you what, cigarettes might have killed countless numbers of people down the years, but boy oh boy, with the liveries, Marlboro, Rothmans, Chesterfield, Camel, great liveries. But, hey kids, stay off the tobacco, the cancer sticks. They aren't good for you at all. But the motorbikes look great. £6,500 to £7,000 on the Aprilia RS250. I would say, hey, they're becoming collectible, but then you know that. And it's been a while since they started becoming collectible. A modern classic, absolutely. Aprilia RS125. Hey, Phil, is there a theme for this? Do you think the lads have laid these out sort of, they've put some thought into it for a change in the way that they've set them out for me to talk about? Thanks, guys. Aprilia RS125 2014. Two-stroke learner legal, can be de-restricted. Yeah, so not learner legal unless you de-restrict it, but you can. MOT till November, it's in outstanding condition, and the reason for that is it's done. Since 2014, 12 years ago, 700 miles from brand new. 40 World Championships Aprilia were celebrating at the time. An amazing success story at one time, Aprilia, weren't they? They came into an incredibly competitive market with the big four Japanese, with competition at home from Italian manufacturers who specialised in low-capacity racy stuff. You think of people like Cagiva. And yet, they made a name for themselves. They took on and beat the biggest motorcycle manufacturing and racing organisations in the world. And it's because they built bikes that the lads wanted. Look how saucy this is. Look at all the tech that's on here from much bigger bikes. The setup with the brakes. Look at the tyres, the styling. It's all there, isn't it, in a 125. Everything you'd expect in a big 750 or litre bike in a 125. And that's why Aprilia were so successful. Of course, it didn't last. But now, you know, Aprilia are back. Like I'm back here, talking about motorbikes. £5,000 to £6,000 on that Aprilia 125. Not 700, 770. Need to be accurate. Phil's warned me about that. Need to be more accurate. 1992 Suzuki GSXR750. Again, a stunning low mileage example of, well, another modern classic. It is though, isn't it? GSXR 750. Classic Suzuki livery. Blue, white and gold. Big old pipe on it. It's got standard pipe on it, this one. Wow. Yeah, with all the Suzuki branding and the, like, BS number and all that carry on. Just a completely minted up, standard example of a classic bike from 1992. 754 cylinder 4-stroke. This is a UK bike from new, by the way, just in case you're thinking, is it an import? No. The owner states that the bike starts, runs and rides We've got all the handbooks and the sort of stuff that you get when you buy it new. 2 keys come with it. It's HPI clear. We've got a V5C on it. Didn't get better than that back in 1992, did it? And look how cheap it is. We reckon 3,250 to 3,750 is where the hammer will fall. That is an awful lot of motorcycle for the money. GSXR 750. Some people would say better and quicker across country than the 1100. Depends who's riding it. If it was me, it doesn't really make much difference. I'm a bit useless, but you know, smaller, lighter, more manageable, more chuckable than the 1100. Legendary bike. Now, speaking of legendary bikes, 1998 Yamaha YZF-R1, the revolutionary noughties superbike. What a bike. The tech was unbelievable. For me, this is the best colour scheme, red, white and black, Yamaha. It just, I mean, it was in its day. It kind of, some of the styling I think was taken from Ducati, but it's distinctively, I think Yamaha have always built the best looking Japanese bikes. Not necessarily the best bikes from the big four. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes no. But they've always built the best looking ones, Yamaha. 1000cc liquid cooled 16 valve inline 4. What a motor. There was me banging on about the unit in the Fireblade. But this engine, it was a game changer. See, look at me, Phil, getting in there with all the sort of modern terminology. Game changer. Yeah, I'm not just from the 90s. Bang up to date I am. 2 keys, it's HPI clear. We've got the V5. Right, what are the miles? Let me have a look. Let me see if I can see what has been changed on this bike. Yeah, it's got wavy discs. You'd expect that. Legendary blue dot calipers on there with carbon Lorraine. That would refer to the pads that are in there. It's got some Diddy indicators. The bar end weights have been swapped out for things that aren't weights, I think. Oh, no, they are weights. Apart from that, oh, yeah, pipe with a carbon wrap. Is it a carbon pipe? Hard to tell. Well, yeah, it's a carbon pipe on it. Apart from that, oh, all-ins on the back. Yeah, very much so. Right, okay. Yeah, it needs a clean, needs sorting out. It's done a few miles, this one, I would imagine. Yeah, it has. 45,000 miles from new. But, and I say this, buy one now because they ain't never going to get cheaper. My English master, Mr. Daz, would have hurled the board rubber. It would be whizzing towards my head if I uttered a sentence like that. So I shall say it properly in the King's English now, isn't it, of course? Buy one now before they become awfully expensive. They will never be more affordable than they are right now. 4,250 to 4,750. Relatively big miles, but I'll say it again. A chap called Glenn Lasanto, motorcycle journalist, he bought one of these. Then he ended up dispatching for a few years for various reasons we won't go into. He put big miles on one of these, over 100,000. He wrote a feature about, he had it stripped down and examined, and he wrote a feature for Motorbike magazine that I may or may not have been the editor at the time. The inspector, who was a fully accredited engineer, said that there was negligible wear on the engine after 100,000 miles on the R1. What a magnificent piece of engineering. What a great looking bike. Just a few changes. One there for your GoPro so you can incriminate yourself when the police pull you over. We'll be taking the SD cards. Do you remember them? We'll be taking that SD card, sir. Yeah, don't film yourself when you're doing stuff like that. Just a tip from me to, you probably, if you're watching this, you're probably, you know, a bit older and more sensible. Younger guys, stop filming yourself. Unless somebody's paying you. Then, yeah. Otherwise, no. Yamaha. God, they just keep coming, the legends. Yamaha FZR1000 EXUP, 90s superbike, 1998, 1000cc, 4-stroke, 4-cylinder. In some ways, illustrated, because it's next to, the lads have definitely put some thought into this. Because, look, there's an R1, and there's the bike that, before the R1, bigger, heftier, chunkier, a muscle bike in some ways. And I remember riding one of these for the first time. And I mean, indicated speed and actual speed are often completely different things. I swear to God, I saw the high 80s miles per hour in first gear. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I thought, that can't be right. Max revs in first, well over 80 miles an hour indicated. Might not have been the real speed, but, you know, just blew my mind. You could blow your mind, we reckon, for between £3,000 and £3,500 on this 98 EXUP. It's MOT'd, it's had a bit of a restoration. The lads say a sympathetic restoration. That means don't massively over-restore one part of it and leave the rest because it looks a bit daft. So just calm it down on the shiny and just deal with what needs dealing with, but don't go mad. Original can, look at the size of it. You don't see too many of them. Imagine how much it weighs. First thing you do, wouldn't it, get rid of that? What would you put on Two Brothers? Would that have been like the pipe of the time? Or would it have been Yoshimura on one of these? Maybe, up to you. 23,000 miles. Yeah, I was wondering if I had gone in the last 28 years. Wow. 2 keys, 23,000 miles, 3,000 to 3,500 on that one. A Buell. Wow. We keep getting Buells. To be honest, I don't think they sold too many in the UK. I like them. They're like an Italian-American motorcycle, aren't they? In many ways. Because look at it. It's obviously Ducati inspired. But everything's bigger and heavier and weirder. Look at it from the front. Wow. It looks like some sort of mad insect that's going to eat your brain. I like it. Buell 1125R, Rotex powered American bike. Yeah, it's a European-American hybrid. It's what a Ducati would look like if an American designed it, which is exactly what happened here. So it's 1125cc liquid cooled V-twin. And like it says, Rotax engine, not Harley Davidson. So, like, well, all kinds of people, CCM, BMW, Rotax. Yeah. It's got a Remus exhaust. The lads say it's got red paintwork. Well spotted, lads. Gold star for you two. 3. Yeah, we're expanding here at Manor Park. 3 lads now in the bike department, plus me. V5 is with it. It's done 8,500 miles. What year is it from this? Right. I wouldn't be able to tell you unless they'd put it in the notes, but hopefully they had. 2009. I don't even remember it. I spend way too much time. Look at that. It's got the traditional, well, traditionally it's got that Buell radial disc brake there. Very distinctive, that. But it seems much sportier and, like I said, more like a sort of a Ducati that was styled by and engineered by an American, which it was. I tell you what, if you went to wherever it is that you go on a sunny afternoon, sunny Sunday afternoon, when you can get away from whoever's trying to stop you going out on your bike, whoever that might be, you might not have anybody like me like that. Just go out if you fancy it. When you go, you won't see another one, would you? Absolutely not. 2009 Buell 1125R, 8,500 miles, 2 keys, Remus exhaust, and we reckon, oh, cheap, super cheap. £3,000 to £3,500. You'd be the only lad on one of them. People would be going, what size is a Ducati? Is it a Suzuki? It looks a bit like a TL1000. Ah, no, it's a Buell. Oh, with the Harley engine? No, Rotax engine. Wow. And all for, we reckon, between £3,000 and £3,500. GSXR750F. Great 90s sports bike, say the lads. I would say sports tourer. These bars are a bit high for a foot. It's not a race replica, is it? Pegs are low, bars are high. Might be a bit kinder on the motorcyclist of advancing years, shall we say. But who still wants something with a bit of character that's pretty quick, still pretty quick. 748cc, 4-stroke, 4-cylinder. Great place to start your first project, say the lads. I agree with them because there's not a lot that wants doing to this bike. A lot of what needs doing to it would be purely cosmetic. Oh, yeah, the paintwork there's not the best. Got some bubbling there. Obviously where somebody's leg has been rubbing there on the motorcycle. You could live with that or sort it out. Get some sort of sticker or something like that. Oh yeah, we've got a bit of wear and tear down here as well. Yeah, but generally in good order. Tyres, very good on the front and the back. No rips or tears in the saddle, not a lot of wear here on top of the tank. Everything's, do you know what? I think it's completely standard, apart from the can, which is a Nexus. Yeah, a Nexus can. Presumably replacing the giant and super heavy one that Suzuki would have put on their Suzuki Advanced Cooling System 750cc inline 4 motorcycle, which we reckon will sell for between 1,200 and 1,700 quid, a bargain. Ducati. Yeah, I said it. 2001. Wow, that's making me feel old. It's 25 years, quarter of a century since the ST4s. Great looking Italian sports tourer, it is. Öhlins, always a good sign. Brembo, Marchesini. Italian motorcycle manufacture is often a question of bringing together, and cars, particularly the supercars, you know, the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Maseratis of this world, and the motorcycles, you're kind of bringing together a lot of good stuff from very experienced, talented, fantastic component suppliers like Brembo, Marchesini, Öhlins, Conti, Dell'Auto. You make the engine and the frame, everything else you get from other people. Pirelli, you don't make your own tyres, do you? And this bike is an example of that. 996 4-stroke V-twin, full colour-coded luggage. You won't see many of these with this colour-coded luggage. A pal of mine chopped in a VFR Honda for one of these, and I thought, oh, I think he's going to struggle living with the vagaries of a Ducati compared to the rock-solid, granite-like reliability of a Honda. No, it was great. He went all over Europe on one of these, had no problems. Lady Misses on the back, all the lovely stuff like fancy shoes and makeup and wigs, as well as her stuff. Do you see what I did there? Do you see what I did, Phil? Went in here. Yeah, there's plenty of room. I think there's some miles on this. It looks like it. Let's have a look. 27,641 in 25 years. We've got a good service history, 6-speed on this one, which makes it a long-legged, as they'd say, touring machine. But with it being the ST4s, so you've got the 4-valve heads on the 4 rather than the 2-valve heads on the 2. I think the smoke screen's a bit of an extra. Don't think there's too much else. I mean, it's not the sort of bike that you put Termigoni exhaust. It's just got the standard pipes on, which seem to be in very good order. Yeah, I don't think it even needs, well, it just needs a clean. Spend a lazy weekend sorting it out. Off you go into the wide blue yonder this summer. That could be you. And super cheap, 2,250 to 2,750 on that Ducati ST4s. 27,000 miles from new. So like 1,000 miles a year. So it's not had like heavy use, has it? It's not all about old bikes, not that that's very old, although we have got some lovely old bikes coming up in the sale, so stick around. Z650RS, retro style modern bike. Yeah, the styling's great. That was me banging on about Yamaha building the best looking Japanese bikes when it is my firm commitment, and has been for a long time, that one of the 3 best looking motorcycles ever made was the Kawasaki Z1. Obviously, this is a tribute to the Kawasaki Z650 of old. It's retro, but it's not like the W800 Kawasaki or the Triumph Bonneville or any other retro style bike. It's kind of halfway to retro. There's just hints of where Kawasaki have come from to arrive here. I like this black metallic paint with a sort of pearlescent kind of micro flake, I think you'd call it. Yeah, if you're in the custom bike world. Nice upright, comfortable riding position. Mega low miles on this one, I'm betting. We don't know how many miles it's done. It just doesn't look. So what year is it? 2022. There's no wear on the seat at all, or on the grips here. It just looks like it's been sat around somewhere warm and somewhere dry, because there's no sign of any corrosion or rot or anywhere on the tyres. If you fancied one of these at the time, about 5 years ago, and you thought, bit pricey that, look how cheap this one is. Our estimate on this one, the lads have put £4,500 to £5,000 on the very lightly used 2022 Kawasaki Z650RS. It's the RS, this one, so it's the top spec one. Good looking motorcycle, going very cheap. Somebody's going to get a bargain. We've got loads of bargains in this sale and a ton of variety. Right, here's the real thing. 1980, not that that was disparaging to the previous motorcycle. I'm just saying that sort of styling came from here. Honda CB650, a nice restored example of the inline four. This is the UJM, isn't it? And again, that's not said in a disparaging way. The universal Japanese motorcycle. Across the frame, inline, air-cooled, four-cylinder, registered as historic. It runs and rides. It's obviously had a new cover on this saddle. It's been restored, this, I'm sure. Let's have a look. The lads have put nice restored example. Again, I could have just read that, but I kind of worked it out, because how's it in this condition after 46 years? Wow. And it's done 50,000 miles. Well, because somebody's restored it. We've got a large file of paperwork. Oh, and by the way, here on our lovely mezzanine, we do have a special area reserved for you to peruse the documentation that comes with this motorcycle, where you can sit in comfort, take your time. It's brightly lit, because none of us are getting any younger, you know. You can read the documentation, look at the paperwork, and make an advised decision about your purchase. But don't forget, you can only do that if you'd registered to bid, and you do that online at our website. It's very simple and straightforward. There are fees, there are terms and conditions. Have a read of that before you bid. In our sale this Friday the 13th. Oh yeah. Yeah. Of February. £2,500 to £3,000 on that one, the Honda CB650. Now you're thinking, that looks like a 1960s cafe racer, and that, of course, was the intention of the person who put it together. Much of the work, in fact, was done at Pit Stop Motorcycles just down the road. Tony, who's a regular at our sales, did a lot of the work on here. Alloy tank, these mudguards were from Unity EXUP, who are, I think they had an advert in the very first edition of Classic Bike magazine and still do today. And I think there are only 2 people. And that was a while ago now. I've got the first edition of Classic Bike. You got a free keyring. I managed to get a copy off eBay, and the keyring was still sellotaped to the front cover of Classic Bike. And I thought, someone had to sellotape all those keyrings to every single edition of issue 1 of Classic Bike. It says Bonneville 750, it's not. Those are the metal panels that have been put on there in place of the plastic ones. This bike is the 900 Thruxton. It's about 60 horsepower standard, but this one's had the head done, gas flowed and all that carry on by the cylinder head shop, carbs rejetted to suit, and these are the preferred, believe it or not, the preferred exhaust to go with that level of tune. I think they're just your standard issue cheapo ones, but they are unrestricted and really loud. One off custom in a good way. One off custom seat, one off custom backlight. There's hardly any wear on these Continental tyres. Hagen shocks, which are lighter and better looking than the big old Triumph, heavy Triumph one. This bike's done virtually no miles since the conversion was done. It's just sat in a bike shop in Manchester. I've heard it run. I've actually ridden this bike. It's got a lot more pep than your standard 2006. Is it 2006? Yeah. Triumph Thruxton 900. And it sounds a lot better. It's just been sat in a motorbike shop and not used because the owner was out of the country. And I don't think it's running at the time, but we do know it runs. We've got a full UK V5. The mileage on it was, well, the mileage is taken off this clock here, but this is a Norton Villiers Triumph clock from the 1970s. This is a motorbike from 2006. The last year of carburetors on the Thruxton, by the way. It went to fuel injection after that. And if you're thinking, well, all that stuff, it's all a bit of a con making it look like an old bike. Well, after Triumph ditched the carbs, which this one had, if you remember, they made the fuel injection look like old AMO carburetors to fool people. So if Triumph can do it, then the owner of this bike can. Good looking bike, needs a bit of love. Our estimate on that one is 2,750 to 3,250 of your English pounds. Ignore that mileage, 47,751. I know for a fact it's done more like 4,000, if that, from new. Panther, they're back. Phelan and Moore of Yorkshire, England, they're back. Of course, it's yet another company building bikes in China. Nothing wrong with that. This was made in China. The camera that Felipe is filming this on was made in China. So let's calm down on the, oh, is it Chinese? Yeah, it is. The new Phelan and Moore. This is a proper Phelan and Moore Panther. Best known for their 500cc slopers. This is a Model 35, which means it's a 250 single and not the 500 single and not a sloper. Part of a deceased estate. Lovely starter classic the lads have put. Hey, that's a really good description. Yeah. If you're thinking of starting with your first classic bike, you've had sort of more conventional machinery in terms of you bought it new or a few years old and you're thinking, oh, that's like 66 years old. Yeah, but it's all relatively straightforward and simple. Of course, it's a Villiers engine. A lot of the smaller British manufacturers, and you know there were hundreds of them. There were hundreds of motorcycle manufacturers. I think the closest to us, the UK, in terms of how many manufacturers they've ever had, was the Americans, and they've had over 70, believe it or not, companies registered in the manufacture of motorcycles. We've had literally hundreds. Some of them only built 1, 2, 3 motorcycles. But Panther, although not up there, Phelan and Moore with a parent company, Panther's what they call their bikes, although they weren't up there with the likes of BSA, Norton and Triumph, nobody was. But underneath that, there were Velocet, AJS, Matchless, all kinds of people making bikes like this that use this utilitarian Villiers engine. Nothing wrong with that. That's what Villiers did, and they were really good at it. I like it. It's a handsome bike. This red paint just needs buffing up. Looks great. Yeah, like the lads say, a great starter classic. 25,000 miles. Of course, it's exempt from any MOT or taxation or anything like that. Got a good number on it, 923 VXVL, which I'm sure comes with it. No reserve on that one. Somebody's going to get a bargain there. Lovely little thing, that, a 250. Yeah, good looking bike as well. The 1960 Panther Model 35. Now, Phil, you know what I'm going to do now, don't you? I love a hooting horn. It's MOT time. The horn's not working. This one is. I've got to sit on this one. Oh, hold on. There we go. Right. Oh, yes. Bit of me, this. A James Comet. Again, James, like Panther, like Phelan and Moore there. One of the second division of British bike builders. Don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean there were the big three and then there was everybody else. And then it all disappeared. And then, weirdly, it's all come back again. Norton, Triumph, Panther, Matchless, BSA, they're all coming back. 98cc, two-stroke single, once again the Villiers engine, which so many of them used. Part of a deceased estate, possibly from the bloke who had the Panther. 1952 this one's from. Again, it's got a good old reg on it, 532 UXS. It's MOT exempt. We don't know how fast, we don't know how many miles it's done because it was never fitted with a speedometer or odometer from new in 1952. Basic transportation, but they did a lot, they made an effort to make it look quite saucy. I like this. Phil, do we call this burgundy? Would we call this burgundy? I would. Yeah. It's a wine, Philip, burgundy. Did you know that? You only know about blue none. Yeah, I know, mate. It's all right. It's not blue either, is it? So we've got that. Just trying to make it look better with nice switches, girder forks. Yeah, wow. And there is, I think there's a brake on there. It's very small, but it's not exactly a ball of fire, this thing, is it? Needs some love. It needs some love. It's a good project, that. I wonder what that's for. Is that for your butties? On there. Toolkit. Thank you, Phil. We don't know how far it's gone. We don't know how fast it goes because it doesn't have that sort of things. We know that it's a 1952 James Comet and there's no reserve on it. A Granville. He's shaking his head. You told me I had to do an impression. You told me I had to do it. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. A vintage butcher's bicycle. I've got one of these, but then again, I would have, wouldn't I? I've got a 1937 Raleigh Tradesman's Carrier, but I've got the High Line with the big front wheel. This is, of course, the low line with the little front wheel and the big old basket, because some young fella would have been in the profession of peddling one of these round like Halifax or Bury or somewhere like that, and pipping his hootie on at people to get them out of the way. Now, at some point, this has had a motor because, look here, there's a throttle of some description there. Or does that affect the brakes? Does that adjust the brake so that when... No. There's all kinds of cablage coming down here which must have gone to a motor that I reckon sat there, and it's not here anymore. Look at the wear on this. Look at the... That may be a recent addition because it's cardboard. Somebody's used this as a display in a garden centre or somewhere like that. Where you go for like an overpriced scone. Do you say scone or scone, Phil? No, it's posh. Yeah, you would have gone, Berry, look on the other handlebar. There's all sorts of gubbins for, like, you know, the sort of the motor that would have been on the back. Yeah, but it's not there now. There are all kinds of events. See, I've got that 37 Raleigh, and I'm going on the Tweed run around London. Yeah, they have these events for vintage bicycles. And I'm not saying that I go on them to meet women, but I go on them to meet women. Well, it beats salsa dancing, come on. So you could use this for that. Look at that, it's got a headlight and everything. Big bell. Shall I try the bell? So it's got a hootie horn and a bell. Granville. What do you reckon on marks out of 10 for me impression, Phil? 0? Swine. Right, these are collectible, obviously, and have a value. This was used as a prop at the World Black Pudding Throwing Championships in my own, I didn't know that, in my own native Bury, Lancashire. I'm going to have a go at it this year. We're going to have a Manor Park entry in the World Black Pudding. It's in Ramsbottom, which is part of Bury, one of the 6 towns, Britain's smallest metropolitan borough. We're going to have a go at that. If you bought it, you could rock up on this and go, hey, Bury, I bought that bike in the sale. Evocative, isn't it? I think it will be used for display purposes. There is no reserve on that bicycle, the butcher's bike. Are these just for the lights? I don't know. I'm not spending any more time on that one. I'm fascinated by it, but we need to move on because not only have we got a lot of variety in this sale, we got a lot of bikes in this sale, which is on February the 13th. Get online, get registered to bid, come down if you can, have a look at the wonder that is our new mezzanine with its exclusive document perusal area, specially designed for that purpose, and just marvel at the UK's largest fixed auction site for classic cars and motorcycles. Excelsior Autobyk, no reserve, lightweight British classic. Wow, it's an education to me, this job, gig, whatever you want to call it. I see stuff I've never seen before. I have never seen an Excelsior Autobyk. 98cc 2-stroke single. Now, there's no guarantee that it is automatic or semi-automatic, but look, it has pedals. It is literally a moped, and I don't mean that in the way that the BBC use moped to describe like a Vespa GTS 300 that'll do 100 odd mile an hour and is a scooter. An actual moped in that it has pedals and it also has a motor. The Autobyk, an Excelsior product, Yeah, fantastic. Great badge on there. Two-tone, bit of a red pinstripe. Even on something like this, which is just sort of cheap commuter transport, this is a motorbike, isn't it? A motor and a bicycle. Look, it's got the pump there. Fuel goes in there. Two-stroke, 98 cc's. Mostly original, great condition. 1950s, no reserve. There's an engine next to this one. I'm sure it was on it a minute ago. A Cyclemaster from 1952. Based on a Balmoral. Oh yeah, you could see the later Madge the Queen popping round her Scottish estate on one of these, couldn't you? With the engine on the back there, the Cyclemaster. There's a spare, surely there's not two engines, one on the front and one on the back. That'd be mental, wouldn't it? Look at the notes, Berry. 32cc two-stroke. We've got the original Buff logbook. A great piece of British history, it says here. And also a really good way to do yourself considerable harm. I rode one of these built by the grandson of the guy who founded Velocet Motorcycles. And the cameraman who's filming me from a Ford Mondeo, because that's the way we used to do it back in the day, with the gas struts on the back with gaffer tape round them. Health and safety, they couldn't spell it. He said, you were doing 50 odd mile an hour on that thing. I said, you're joking? He said, no. He said, I'm thinking, we're doing 50 odd mile an hour. But I was talking to the camera. And you'll know from watching these previews that when I'm talking to the camera, I just get distracted. I get all excited about what we've got to show you and what we've got to sell you. And I just forget everything else. No reserve. On the 1952 Cyclemaster, there's an engine on it and there's an engine next to it. It doesn't say here whether the two come together. I'm guessing they do, and that's a spare engine. Although you'd be tempted, wouldn't you, to put that engine on the front wheel and run one at both ends just for the, you know, what do the young people say? They say something that's rude and like Phil would edit out, so I'm not going to say it. It sounds like hits and sniggles. Yeah, just do it for that. Trojan mini motor. This is the mini motor on the back. Look at that badge, Felipe. Come in and show people that fantastic badge. Cycle and outboard motor. What? Gearless. Ah, gearless, so presumably, does it drive directly onto the tyre? It does! Nuts! There's just a cutout in the mudguard, and it just directly drives like a Veloselect. Instead of driving via the hub, it rubs on the tyre. That can't be a good idea. Really? Fantastic. Oh, look at this. It's got a speedo. Look at that. Oh, Hourette speedo. And the top speed on it is 40 kilometres. 40? No, that must be mile per hour and then kilometres. So 40 mile an hour. Oh, would you want to go 40 mile an hour? Because look, they've gone, yeah, let's put an engine on it, on the back there. Weight distribution. Forget about that. It'll be right. Shall we uprate the brakes? No, they'll be fine. You've just got the standard rod brakes. Mental. A Trojan mini motor, a superb fun auto cycle. What a bit of fun that'd be. Can you imagine? A pedal and pot, they used to call them, didn't they? So it's part of a small private collection. I would imagine the chap who had the other two I've just shown you. No reserve on the 1950 Trojan mini motor. Getting a bit giddy there. Thank God. Back to motorbikes. A Matchless G12. Proper classic, this one. My pal's got one of these. But on his, the chain is actually like attached to the back wheel, which on this one it's not. This one needs some love. It's a project. Come on. Yeah, we're trying to do that. We've got absolute mentors that you couldn't possibly improve on. And we've got projects. This is a project. 650cc. It does have compression. We know that. Almost complete. We've got the V5. I think these are handsome motorcycles. And in the time, you know, every bit as quick and desirable as stuff from the likes of BSA Norton and Triumph. But not as valuable, I don't think. So somebody's going to get a bargain. 20,472 miles an hour on that lovely Smith's clock. Smith's of Clerkenwell in London. At one time, 2/3 of all the watches and clocks made in the world were made in the borough of Clerkenwell. Yeah, I know that because the man from Bremont Watches told me when I went there. Fine British brand. Not cheap, but you got to pay for quality. Although maybe not on this, in this instance. Matchless G12, 1958, no reserve. Needs its project, but we reckon most of it is there. And we've got the V5 on that one. No reserve. Panther. Careful, just negotiate that. Again, a project. The engine's there. This will be a, is that a Villiers motor? Like a 250 or something? It's not the Sloper, is it? Oh, it is. So it's a it says Panther on the side there. That looks like a tiny cylinder. Look at the notes, Berry. Panther Project, registration, unregistered, frame, not visible, odometer, not available. Yeah, it is available. I can read that. What are you talking about, lads? 2,600 and, oh no, hold on, 265 miles. Maybe it's gone round. It's a project. Phil, I'll stand back and just let Phil give you a good look at it. It's from 1950. We haven't got a V5. We don't know what the registration on it is. It's a project. Came as part of, you know, a collection. Somebody will want this and it will go cheap. They'll think, blimey, that's cheap for what I'm getting. Look at what I'm getting there. Another Panther. This one's considerably much more like an actual motorcycle than that project one that I've just told you about. But, you know, it takes all sorts. DYT217 is the registration number on this 1936 Panther Model 20. A lovely machine, no reserve on this one. It is a 249cc single. Thought to be from 1936. We've got the V5. Look at that, it's great. I love it. Phil, show the good people that. Pride and Clark. Pride and Clark, Stockwell Road, London, SW9. Pride and Clark, they were one of the most famous motorcycles. Massive dealership. You know, back in the day, when bikes like this ruled the roads in this United Kingdom. No reserve on the 1936 Panther Model 20, completely together. And we've got the V5, look at that, the saddle, the paint. Doesn't need anything, this one. Just get some fuel in there and get riding it. Maybe take it easy looking at that front brake. Mind you, that's quite big for a front brake on a bike from before the war. Before the war! Great badge as well, look at that. Come on, hard to beat that. What an image of a Panther. Are you going, that's a leopard? Yeah, well, a leopard is a Panther. Yeah, it's just, they're the same what's-her-face genus, aren't they? The Black Panther is actually spotted. Phil knows this. Phil already knows this. It is spotted, but the spots are so big and close together that it looks black. You do that, didn't you, Phil? Yeah. Back that, mate. Now, I looked at this fantastic custom motorcycle and thought, that's been put together by my old mate, Russ Mitchell, from Exile Cycles over there in that California. Except, of course, Russ is a Gloucester lad. I've known him since he was 16, when we had, whisper it, scooters. The first Exile bike was a Lambretta. However, this isn't an Exile bike. This is a Graves Pure Sex Dragster. Steady, Phil. 1851 four-stroke twin S&S motor. Very well known in this sort of game, S&S. Provided engines for thousands and thousands of these S&S engines have been built. Of course, you know, to go into chopper-type bikes and obviously inspired by the Harley-Davidson. Six-speed Baker, again, one of the best names in the business. Six-speed Baker manual transmission. Performance machine, contour, forward controls and hand controls. 3-inch open primary belt. Come round here, Phil. See, look at these lads who ride this sort of thing. Danger, they laugh in the face, mate. Look at that. 3-inch open primary belt drive. When that's racking round, makes a very distinctive, unique sound, attracts attention, and makes you look like a total badass. Satin finished billet wheels, like the wheel on the Fat Boy, except much bigger. How wide's it? It's like a 280 or something like that. How big's this back wheel? 280, he said confidently. No, Barry, it's a lot bigger. It's a... Good Lord. Look at that back wheel. Wow. The attention to detail on this bike. Do you know, a lot of these custom bikes, to me, it looks like somebody had an idea, then they had another idea, then they had another idea. This bike looks like it's cohesive. It looks like it was designed on a blank sheet of paper and then built exactly to that design. Everything goes with everything else. No front mudguard, that's missing. Forget it, don't even fit one. If you like this, weirdly, I think the biggest collection of exile-built bikes in the world, you'd think, is it like Sylvester Stallone, or is it, you know, some American movie star or sports star? No, the biggest collection of exile bikes, I think, is just outside Preston. I went to see this guy, I'm not saying where, I went to see him and he had about a dozen of these bikes, all built by exile in California. I rang him up once, Russ, and I said, is Russ there? And the guy who was answering the phone was another Brit who works for him that I know, and he went, well, if you want to speak to his assistant, I said, tell him it's Steve Berry. And he came on the phone, hello, boy! Yeah, that guy that you see on those chopper building programs, yeah, it's a bit of an act, but it's a great act and it's made him a lot of money. Maybe not as popular as they were, but wow. Think about the build cost on this. Even things like all the hidden... You're thinking, well, it's not finished. Where are all the cables and where's the electrics? All cleverly hidden away. Think about the build cost. And then I'm going to tell you that we think it'll sell this Friday, Friday the 13th, for between £8,000 and £8,500. A fraction of what it costs to build. Do you think I could ride this, Phil? Do you think it's a bit of me? No. He's saying, no, Barry. Step away from the chopper. Look at the rake on those forks. Yeah, not exactly a beginner's bike. What a machine. So cheap. 2005 Graves Pure Sex Dragster. Yeah, it's UK registered, by the way. Don't worry about that. 1979 Kawasaki KZ500. More my speed, this maybe. KZ500 Custom. Really nice bike, beautifully put together. Great finish on the paint here. It's sort of a... Oh, it's got like a sort of rainbowy effect, hasn't it, Phil? Let's see if Phil can use a camera and get in and show you the rainbow effect there. Lovely. Backstreet Heroes cover bike, I think this was. Based on a 1970s four-stroke, part of a small private collection, starts, runs and rides. It's hardly been used. It's in fantastic condition. Lovely paint. Everything's been polished up and shined up. Tyres are next to new. There's hardly... Look at the forks. Great. This has all been done, polished professionally. One of those people that likes to build bikes doesn't necessarily like to ride them, which is fair dues. Whatever you get out of motorcycling is up to you. I hate people who sort of prescribe what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. However you get your kicks, your jollies, I mean, we don't talk about, you know, what Phil gets up to when he's not doing this, or me. No judgment here at Manor Park. You want to buy this bike, you want to sell this bike, great, get in contact with us. You want to buy this bike, put it on display in your front room, great, whatever. Or ride it to death. It's up to you. And we reckon that on that 500cc air-cooled four-stroke transverse four-cylinder double overhead cam, quite a motor, not necessarily one you'd find in a chopper, but you would find it in this one, and you might be able to buy it for between $2,750 and $3,250. Don't forget, all of these, they're just guide prices, they're just estimates. The lads put them together after hours of study. Yeah. Or they just go, how much do you reckon on that one, mate? But because we've done so much of it, we sort of know. Don't forget, there are fees and all that carry on, all of which you can find on our website. 2004 Kawasaki VN800 Vulcan. Very cool custom bike. 805cc liquid cool V-twin. Is it shaft drive, this one? He said, going around the other side. No, that's a chainberry. It's chain drive. Lovely custom job. Part of a small private collection. Inner Spain. Bit of a dent there in the tank. That lever's had a bit of a small accident, which I would imagine is related to the small dent in the tank. Apart from that, very clean indeed. Not as clean as the previous one. Somebody's been riding it, for goodness sake. You've got the heat wrap on the pipes there, so all your hipster credentials. Strictly a single-seater. What mileage have we done on this? 32,000 kilometres from new. Like we said, it's been kept in Spain. Custom job, one-off, and again, available at a fraction of what it costs to build. 2,750, 3,250. I do like those people who think that a custom bike is worth what it costs to build. No, because it's your dream. It was your dream, but somebody else might go, oh, that's lovely. And how much is it? Oof, that's very affordable. True. Yeah, that's what we deal in. Affordable dreams, don't we, Phil? That's what we're all about. 1993 Yamaha V-Max 1200, shaking his head again. Honestly. Got no romance in your soul, Phil. 1993 V-Max 1200. I had a couple of these. Top muscle bike of the 90s. You're not kidding, lads. 1200cc, 4-stroke V4. I'll tell you what you don't want to do with one of these. Get out of shape going into a bend, a quick bend, because it's not like being on a sports bike. When these start going sideways and that, you feel closer to God, much closer. Ask me how I know. They're great though, aren't they? What a good looking motorcycle. That always happens on these. That corrodes, but the other finish doesn't. But bear in mind that this motorcycle is now 33 years old. An original honest bike owned by a VMAX enthusiast, two keys. We've got the V5 on it. It's done 30,000 miles from new. And we reckon, oh, look how cheap this is. I mean, who wouldn't say, whether you like them or not, that the VMAX isn't a classic? It just is standard pipes, really. Not Kirkers or Super Trap. Standard pipes on a VMAX. Wow. Completely standard bike. 32,000 miles, total classic, super cheap, 2,750 to 3,250 pounds. Now, I'll tell you what's not going to sell for around £3,000. This bike. This is a 2007, I was going to say 1990, I was thinking 1990s. No, 2007 Harley Davidson FXDB Dyna Street Bob, recent MOT. Mileage 25,000, so it's a 1600cc 4-stroke twin 6-speed manual with belt drive. It's got a stage 1 kit and exhaust. Is that like Screaming Eagle or is it Vance and Hines? Let me have a look. Vance and Hines. Somebody's been scraping those pipes a bit on the bottom. Enthusiastic cornering. Yeah, so it's a Vance and Hines carb. Well, a cleaner. I don't know if it's a standard. It's a McCuney on these, isn't it? No, it's going to be fuel injection. What am I talking about? 2007. I'm thinking 90s. Not just now, in general, stuck in the 90s, but there you go. I was big in the 90s. Single saddle. Oh no, hold on. It's got pegs. You meant to squeeze on there with your significant other. Do they call them old ladies, the girlfriends? Do they still say that? Probably not. Them bars can't be standard, or are they? Harley Davidson on the top clamp. The Americans say triple trees, don't they? But I don't. I would say yoke. You probably would. We've had a lot of interest in this motorcycle. It's not much more than the V-Max. Look at them wheels. Them wheels can't be standard. They are fancy. They really go with it. I think this is what you call badass. Look at that. Whoa, bloody hell. What a lump. Look at that bad lad. Them wheels are great. Oh, bet they were expensive. I'll tell you that. 2007 Harley Davidson FXDB Dyna Street Bob, 6-speed manual, stage 1 kit and exhaust, upgraded wheels. You're not kidding. I hope they're hollow, because if they were solid, that'd be a hell of a lot of unsprung weight. No, they are. I think I can tell. What am I talking about? They look great though, so who cares? 25,000 miles from new. Oh, not much more. Not much more than that Yamaha, but we have had lots of interest. 3,750 to 4,250 on that 2007 Harley Davidson. Bit of you that, Phil. Right, let's wallow shamelessly in nostalgia by having a look at a few choppers. Steady. Mark II, 1980s Raleigh Chopper. Pinky, although not a true pink, more of a cerise. That's what Phil said, but then again, he is very artistic. So, hey, this is a 10-speed. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there, and high and low. A 10-speed chopper, the Mark II. In original, unrestored condition, no reserve on Pinky. I like it, but not as much as this. Hey, look at this. This is like a sort of a Raleigh Chopper that's gone to the East LA car show. Phil, I went to the East LA car show with my mate, El Chubster, Mr. Chubby, in his lowrider, baby. And there were bikes like this with this barley twist. So this is kind of, I think this would be the accessory that, has it got a trailer? I don't know. Look at it. Extensively modified at great expense. Look at this barley twist high-rise backrest on the back. What about this? Come on. Customised with turned bars and frame. Matching trailer. Yeah. Not sure what you carry in the matching trailer. Maybe the bottles of Frosty Jack. Yeah, it's a sort of bicycle. This is for going round the site. I'm going to guess an Urcool VW get-together. Yeah. What's it called? Dubquake or Dubfest or something like that. I went once. It was a long time ago. But there were people tooling around on this sort of thing. It goes, you know, you put it on the back of your pickup Samba van thing, jobby, with the flat wheel and the wheezing engine in the back. Sorry. Or you could just use it to pop down the shops. Fantastic, no reserve. Raleigh Chopper Mark III. Mark 3. So this was when they revived it in the 2000s. So much more of an actual bicycle. Warning, this bicycle is not constructed. Look at that, it's got a proper saddle instead of the proper, like, chopper seat that was on. They compromised it at this point, hadn't they, and made it more of an actual rideable bicycle. Still with the diddy wheel on the front and the big wheel on the back. It's got 3-speed, but the gear shifter has been moved from there where it was a danger to the gentleman's area, should you choose to come forward off the saddle for any reason, like having a daft front wheel on the front instead of a proper wheel. And look at all this. Yeah. 3-speed up here on the bars, as I say. Is it meant to be like fogged, the paintwork? I did a bit of that, a bit of fogging back in the day on my scooters with a bit of cardboard and a rattle can from Alfred's. Bit of fogging, look at that. No reserve. No, don't buy it, Berry. Enough. Don't get high on your own supply. Although it's so tempting, isn't it, to relive those preteen years, perhaps. How did we ride these when we were like 11 or 12? Because we did. Look how high the seat is. This one is this one a Mark III as well? No, it can't be. Ah, yeah, this is a 1970s Mark I. Yeah, no reserve. Appears to be completely original. Nice example. Saddle's seen better days. Paintwork's good on it. Bit of rust here and there. Get the old, what is it? Solvol. Get the Solvol on there in a rag. Be right up. Mind you, patina. Brakes work. Tyres are pumped up. Lots of tread on them. Not that you're going to be going that far, really, are you? Just a bit of fun. Like this one. 1980s Mark II. No reserve. Appears to be original. It's all there. The saddle's good. This bicycle is not constructed to carry passengers unless you can get two of your mates or that fit girl who's the captain of the netball team to get on the back there. That was a sexist comment from the 1970s or the 1980s when this bicycle was made by Raleigh. It's amazing, really, because Raleigh just made like proper things, didn't they? Like I had a Raleigh Arena 10-speed. Did you, Phil? Eddie Merckx? No? Out the Grattan catalogue? Come on. Must have had a deprived childhood. Poor lad. No wonder you turned out the way you did. No, but I had a Raleigh Arena 10-speed and it was like a proper bicycle. I swapped it for my chopper because I wanted to go places. You just look good on one of these, don't you? I think. All original. There it is. Saddle's good, paint's good, chrome's good. No reserve. Right, is this a Mark 1? Yeah, 3-speed. Oh, there you go. Sturmy Archer. Look at that. Purple. Very 70s, isn't it? Very 70s indeed. Paint's good. Decals are good. Arrow wedge. Arrow wedge. Yeah, said Raleigh, trying to say that there was some sort of technology going on here. But back in the day, this was the look, wasn't it? Bruce Lee, big pair of flapping Lionel Blairs, Adidas Beckenbauer. Yeah, come on. And I had a red sweatshirt from Army and Navy in Bury, and it had 3 horses on it. Wrangler, 3 wild Mustangs, Wrangler on a Raleigh Chopper. Come on. That was the look. Relive those great years on a lovely Raleigh Chopper like that one, especially in purple. That's the best colour for it, I think. What's this? There are all sorts of inappropriate things that I could say about this bicycle, but I'm going to fight that urge and just tell you that it's a 1984 Aero Reflex BMX. It's pink. It's got a chrome frame. I was too old for BMX. You're probably the right age for a BMX, aren't you, Phil? Do you not fancy this in your collection? I can see you cycling to work here at Manor Park on a 1984 Aero Reflex. With them, I bet them pink tyres are hard to get hold of. I don't think I've seen a bicycle with pink tyres before. That's the great thing about coming here. I see something every sale that I've never seen before. It's a proper racing BMX, that, isn't it? With the race pedals and all the gear on it. Because it's got like street pedals that come with it as well. Although it's quite outrageous and flamboyant, I think a proper piece of kit and available. 1984 Aero Reflex, no reserve, in our next sale. That was a bit of fun. Now back to motorbikes. Which, of course, are no fun at all. Don't be daft. Look at this. Unleash your inner Steve McQueen with this Husqvarna Sportsman 360C. Yeah, have you seen that film, On Any Sunday? You have. Peter Starr made that film. I met him. And it kind of, I don't know, it was meant to sort of represent what motorcycling meant to people, to American people, really. And of course, Steve McQueen was in it with his friend Malcolm Smith, who was a much better rider than him. We won't get into having a go at Steve McQueen, but he rode one of these, I remember, Husqvarna Sportsman. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure he did. Made in Sweden. There's a lovely badge there. Yeah, Husqvarna. A proud history of building all sorts of things, including sewing machines and chainsaws, but fantastic off-road motorcycles that were the beating of anything else made anywhere else in the world, including this United Kingdom. So in 1970, this would have been, you know, a proper, I don't think they'd invented the word enduro, but as near to an enduro bike as you get back then, and a really competitive one at that. 1,600 miles, it's tax and MOT exempt. The same model was used by the legend Bud Eakins, who was Steve McQueen's best buddy. Yeah, Bud Eakins cycles in, well, it wasn't Los Angeles, I think it was Pasadena. I get confused when I'm there, because I'm from Bury, and there's like Bury Town Centre, there's the market, the town hall, the bus station, that's the centre of the town. When I'm in Los Angeles, it doesn't seem, which I sometimes am, not as often as I'm in Bury, but I am, it's just massive and all over the place. So if you're in Pasadena or Long Beach, I don't know where I am, but I've been to Bud Eakins Cycles. He was the guy who did the jump in The Great Escape and he's also the bloke who comes off the bike in Bullet, you know, when Steve McQueen's in the green Mustang and that dude slides along the road and you think, that bloke deliberately laid that motorbike on its side and slid down the road. Yeah, that's Bud Eakins as well. So this is like the one that he rode. Great condition, beautiful paint, tyres, wheels, chain, suspension. It's an absolute minter. Look at that, the circular air cleaner, very distinctive. Husqvarna Sportsman 360C. Great looking bike, isn't it? 4,500 to 5,000 is the estimate on that. 1970, I say again, Husqvarna, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Tell me if I'm not. From 1970, 4,500 to 5,000 pounds. Moving swiftly on, Kawasaki KT250. Right, a trials bike. Is it a trial bike? Yeah, well, look at the saddle there. You're not really meant to sit on that seat, are you? You're meant to stand up. So that's what a trials bike used to look like. 250cc, single cylinder, 2-stroke, good honest condition, gas shocks, fresh frame and swing arm. Is that a trials bike? I think it is. It's got a bash plate under there, high level exhaust, twin shocks, in great condition, 1975. It's over 50 years old. It's in great nick. There's some... Call that stand. I don't know how to trust that stand, Phil. I think I'd rather trust you. There we are. Yeah. Don't fall over. Stay where you are. Now, obviously, there's some paint damage here and all that on the tank. It's bubbling. Where it's been resprayed, it's reacted badly. You can either live with it or... yeah, we've got these like micro blisters, which is evidence of sort of tiny amount of water there, isn't it? Shame, really, because it's a well, in fact, if you go like that, it looks terrible. If you stand here, it looks okay, and it's a trials bike. You're gonna fall off. You're gonna fall off, unless you're like Tony Bow or Dougie Lampkin, and you're probably not. You're probably you. So I won't sweat too much about that, but I'm just telling you, just trying to be honest. It's obviously been restored. This has all been polished up and is in lovely condition. The rims are great, the tyres are good. Yeah, it's in cracking nick, no reserve on the Kawasaki KT250. Now look at this big bad un. When I say bad, I don't mean it's not a good bike. I mean, you know, look at it. Look how big it is. KTM 495 1982. Top speed of this bike, not with me on it, obviously, or Phil, absolutely not. 123 mile an hour it states, it's the top speed. And obviously that would be off-road, like on a sort of beach somewhere, you know, Western Beach Race or something like that. Would you be doing that on a trail? 123, it's terrifying, isn't it, in some sort of enduro? 1982, they were going that fast, the lads, some of them, the best, the bravest, were going 123 mile an hour on this big, bad, classic enduro bike, motocross enduro, whatever you want to call it. Single cylinder. Single cylinder. Look at the thinning on there just to keep this big 500cc single in working order. Electronic ignition. It's got a new Mikuni carburetor from the glory days of KTM, and look where they are now, eh? Yeah, there was the Myco, there was the CR500, and there was this KTM 495. Now, a lot of the times we know almost the entire history of a motorcycle. They come with a comprehensive pack of information, usually printed on paper, because of course that's the way we used to do it. Increasingly these days, that information is digitized. However, because we mainly deal in bikes with a history, we have a new document perusal area here on our lovely mezzanine. Did I mention the mezzanine? I think I did. But we've got somewhere where you can look through the history of the bike, look at all the telltale stuff, service history, records of any damage, paint jobs, engine rebuilds, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's all there and it's all written down. We want to make that information available to you. However, sometimes we get a bike and we just get a bike and that's it. That's all we know. We got a bike. This is a 1980s Honda, we think, trials bike. We don't know the registration. We don't know if it was ever registered. We don't know what the frame number is. We don't know how many miles it's done or anything else about it. We think, tell us in the comments, I'm sure you will. We think it's a TLR 200 Honda. It's got Wassell or Vassell sporting handlebars. Made in England. Yeah. And it's not in the best of nick. We don't know if it runs. We don't know too much about it other than what you can see in the excellent cinematography provided by my friend and colleague Felipe. That's all we know. It is what it is. It's a project. It's all there, apart from the saddle, obviously, unless you don't like sitting down. And like we say, we think it's a TLR 200. Tell us otherwise in the comments. 1980 Honda Trials bike, no reserve. Now, we know a lot more about this bike. It's a 1961, 1980s DCM Yamaha 500. Well, make your mind up, Berry. You're saying, is it 1960s or is it 1980s? Hold hard. The frame is 1960s, which is why on the back it says 753 UYN. Yeah, it's a pre-62, so it's got the old school 3 and 3 on the back. However, the engine is a Yamaha 500 from the 80s, a twin valve, two valve, single cylinder, 4-stroke. It's got a 540 big bore kit, wet sump conversion. Yeah. So lots of ground clearance there, nothing to get smashed up. Yamaha TZ bodywork, you'll recognise that, lots of you, with a saucy little kick up and a sexy little back light built in there. Love the tank with the fast filler there. We've got a V5, flat bars, valve lifter jobby for the old kickstart, which I'm sure I'll find around the other side. I always say that and then it's not there. Yeah, of course it is. There it is. A one-off scratch-built custom bike. Lovely saddle. Single-seater, obviously. Unless you're very good friends with whoever might share that with you. Do you fancy it, Phil? Didn't think you would. No reserve on the 1961/1981 DCM Yamaha 500. A one-off custom bike. Cool, look at this pipe round here. Come. Hey, I'll tell you what, it's got some lovely wheels on it as well. Wow, it really is top-end kit that this fella has used. And it's beautifully thought out. This guy builds race bikes. I'll bet a pound to a pinch of dog muck, as my dad would say, if he was here. He's not here, he's 87. But he's not here. Race bike, yeah, builder, because it's all very logical and very sort of attention to detail. Look at that there, where the exhaust just barely clears. Barely clears. You could probably get a playing card down there, but not much else. But it's not touching it, and it's not touching there either. Very cleverly, intelligently done. No reserve on that custom bike. 1982 Benelli GP 500 Evocation. Jarno Saarinen. Jarno Saarinen was a cross between Mick Jagger and Barry Sheene. He was the Finnish. Was he the first person in motorcycle sport to get his knee down deliberately, to drag his knee in corners, or was it Kenny Roberts? Tell me in the comments. But if you look at footage of Jarno Saarinen, like I say, he was like half rock star, half motorbike racer. Rockstar good looks, long blonde hair, beautiful model girlfriend, always got a cig on the go, cool leathers, cool helmet, the lot, the full package. And out on the circuit, a very flamboyant riding style, which was new to a lot of people who were used to riders like Mike Hillwood, who kept it all contained and calm and together. Of course, it didn't really end well for Jarno Saarinen, but this is an evocation of the GP 500 Benelli that he famously rode. What a great looking machine this is. 604cc, 4-stroke inline 4. So it's got a Benelli 4-cylinder. It's a 600. This is an evocation of the GP bike. It's not a GP bike, obviously, by any stretch. But it's intended to, you know, conjure up images of it in the mind of those who come across it, see it. And when you're riding it, you're thinking, yeah, look at me. I'm like Jarno Saarinen. Mr. Cool. 5-speed manual, chain drive, race camshaft, Marishoki suspension, period bodywork, Brembo brakes. Look at them, the cast wheels and the twin discs there. Brembo. Not too much stopping power then, but sufficient for the amount of go provided by that engine. A very well balanced bike. It's been nicely put together. Looks great. Not the real thing, but looks, sounds, and rides quite a bit like it. Plastic tank there. That's kind of like a suede effect, as a racing saddle would have been back then. And what we got on this one? £6,500 to £7,000. 1982. It's registered. Is it registered? No, it's not registered. But that's the origins of the bike that provides the base for this evocation of a famous 1960s GP bike. Jim Redman. He was Rhodesian, I think, when there was such a place, Jim Redman. Yeah, but he was right up there with the likes of Phil Reed and Mike Elwood and Giacomo Agostini back in the day, wasn't he? Honda Works rider. This is a Jim Redman Evocation RC172 Jim Redman replica. A replica, an Evocation. That's what we're saying. A bike intended to look like it, to sound like it, for parades, for classic events, stuff like that. Air-cooled, transverse-mounted, 400cc, inline four-cylinder, 2 valves per cylinder. We've got these megaphone pipes which make a glorious sound, I'll guarantee. Lightweight fiberglass tank, race fairing, it's had recent tyres, well, they look brand new. A fun, usable race replica, as the lads have correctly put here, and the estimate on this one, 1976 CB400 Jim Redman Evocation, £5,000 to £5,500. We're still in the Evocation business. This time, it's a Honda CR750. No expense spared on the build of this one. 750cc, 4-cylinder, 4-stroke, 80 horsepower at the rear wheel. Doesn't sound a lot in these days when 200 horsepower street bikes are the norm. But let me tell you something, boys and girls. 80 horsepower in this bike will put the fear of God in you. Painstaking recreation, large file of receipts on this one, CRMC registration certificate, so eligible for all sorts of events, and we've got the stickers here. It's been at Donington in 2025, and it was in Donington in 2024, a recent build. There you are, double overhead cam, 750cc. And we've got the CR carburetors here. Yeah, this is, like you say, no expense spared in the creation of this CR750 race bike Evocation for classic racing, for classic parades. Makes a glorious sound, lot of fun to ride. Look at these big old disc brakes on the front when we're still with wire wheels, but big proper disc brakes, nice thick. I mean, it's terrifying sometimes when you look back at race bikes and the forks are so spindly, the brakes are so small. This would be a lot more usable. You got 80 horsepower coming out of there. You need to be able to stop. 1974 is the year that, is it registered? No, wouldn't be, probably not. I mean, it's based obviously on a road bike, but I think at the time the race frame was a modified version of the road bike frame. So it's much easier to say that you've kind of created a facsimile or an evocation when you use a road bike as the basis for it. You're going to tell me now, that was never a road bike. Feel free to correct me. It's all about learning, isn't it? We learn something every time. I learn lots because I get so much wrong. 1974, we're saying it is, CR750. And it's 14,000 to 16,000, but when you look at it, how much time and effort and money has been poured into that bike, that seems very reasonable to me. Oh, here we go. To be this good takes ages, it said back here, Phil. Those are words to live by, aren't they? And it's got like a private registration, I'm pretty sure, D100RWC. However, the person who affixed the number plate to the back of this Suzuki RG500 Gamma has obviously not read the regulations about the size and the spacing of these digits and may find themselves at the side of the road having a conversation with a member of the constabulary. You could say, officer, it was like that when I bought it. Here's that Steve Berry, turn the volume down. Here's that Steve Berry, look, it was on it when I bought it. You might get off. You probably won't these days, but there you go. 1986, can you imagine in 1986 having one of these? You would have been the boy, wouldn't you? 500cc liquid cooled, square four. Yeah, people forget that, a square four. How did they make that work? Well, because Suzuki knew a lot about liquid cooling, didn't they? That was their thing. They'd done a lot of it on two strokes. One thinks of the GT750, bikes like that. So they could build a square four, which knocked out as much power as this did, which was a lot, and they could make it run and not break and not horribly overheat the back cylinders. This one is in what we would call barn find condition. And so lots of look at the paint. The paint is great because a lot of this is plastic. Some of it's metal, obviously, yes, I know that. Or it's kind of bare alloy. That's survived quite well. However, some things haven't survived. I think that's a bloody, that's a cat. That's a bloody cat that's done that. Look, evidence of cat damage. What do you reckon, Phil? Clawing at it, the bugger. Oh, we all love our cats, don't we? Except when they claw the seat on our priceless classic motorcycle, making it slightly less priceless, but a good opportunity for somebody to get a project here. This bike is a project. The carbs have been removed. Look, I can see that. Even I can see that. The carbs have been removed for cleaning. Very original bike. What's the mileage? Just under 20,000 since 1986. Wow, 1986. This was the daddy back then, wasn't it? It really was, the RD500 and the RG500. Yeah, that's reflected in the price. Even in this, as we say, barn-find condition, which may suit a lot of people, because apart from that, apart from the fact that it needs a lot of love, it's not been messed with. It's completely standard. Completely standard. Nothing's been altered. Nothing's been modified, nothing's been changed. And of course, look, it's even got the big mad dobber indicators. Look at the size of them. Probably take, between the four of them, they probably take about 2 miles an hour off the top speed. Look at the size of the things. Anyway, that's what people want, complete originality, and that's what you get in there. Still in that condition, 13 to 15,000 pounds. Honda CB750 K2. This is an odd fish, isn't it? Wow, it's in awesome condition. Look at that. What are we looking at here? 1972, Mike Hailwood. The greatest. Yeah. You're thinking, what? What about Valentino Rossi? Yeah, he's good. Yeah. Kenny Roberts? Yeah. I get it. Marc Marquez? Time will tell. They all have their, but for me, the greatest of all time, Stanley Michael Bailey Hailwood. Yeah, his real name was Stan. Like his dad. So, this is a Hailwood Evocation or replica. 750cc 4-cylinder. Stunning build standard the lads have put here, and they are not wrong. Lot of time, lot of money. Yeah, how much? Paint job? Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Look at that. Wonderful. It's previously been insured for £9,000. We know that doesn't, reflect its true value. This fairing on the front will divide people, but it's on there so that it could get an MOT on it and it could ride it on the road. Because look, there's a plate on the back. Yeah, I've just noticed that. 1972 on a K, JMA 784K. We've got a dating letter, we've got a key, it's HPI clear. It's obviously a road bike, modified to resemble a machine raced with a distinctive Honda red and silver paint job by the aforementioned greatest racer of all time. I like it, you might like it, you can get it cheap. We reckon £4,500 to £5,000 on a bike previously valued at £9,000 and in absolutely tip-top condition and available in our motorcycle sale this Friday, February the 13th. Oh yeah. Wait, it's just a number. It'd be great. Mind you, here's the thing. Some people might be put off, like superstitious types. So you could sneak in and grab yourself a bargain. Register to bid at our website, Manor Park Classics. Yeah. Wonderful. Says break, Phil. It says here, a big single with bags of retro charm. Do they mean me? I'm a big single and I've got bags of retro charm, Phil. Or do they mean this fantastic motorcycle? I think they do. 2012, a considerably newer vintage than myself. Of course, it is a big single. It's got a 499cc. Yeah, I wondered. It's a true 500. 499cc, single-cylinder, 4-stroke engine. It's got an uprated AMO carburetor that we can see there. It's just been serviced, including all the fluids have been replaced. It's in very good condition to say that it's been around for 14 years now and has only done 5,970 kilometres from brand new. It's got good Dunlop TT100 tyres. They seem to be about pretty much, I would imagine they're sort of swapped from the OE ones and put on it. Wow, it's in really, a lot of these Royal Enfields have a hard life. People use them. People buy them and they use them. I'm not sure what this is, what's going on here. It's sort of like a... I mean, there aren't any pegs on the back for anybody to ride on the back of it, but it's kind of almost like an emergency dicky seat. The single saddle's in really good condition. The paintwork is unmarked. I like this badge here where it's just sort of raised letters on the tank. Yep, it's in great nick. Much better than these usually are. They get used a lot. They have a hard life generally. This one's had a very easy life and wears its 6,000 kilometres very lightly. Like a new one. No reserve on that one. Now this is nice. A Kawasaki H2B Mach IV. When I say nice, what I mean is this is one of the greatest motorcycles of all time. And it's in absolutely, when they say something stunning on Facebook Marketplace, what percentage of the time is something actually stunning? Well, in this case it is. Stop me in my tracks, this bike. Look at it. I'll step aside. Let people have a look at that, Phil. One of the greatest motorcycles of all time. When you look at the performance of it compared to what else was on the road back then, particularly cars, Porsches and Ferraris, this thing left them in the dust. I mean, absolutely the quickest thing from one stoplight to another. Let's not talk about corners and difficult stuff like that, but let's just, you know, pure performance, because they wanted to sell it to Americans. So they made it look like the sexiest thing you could possibly imagine, and they made it make a noise like the devil clearing his throat, and they just made it like insanely fast over a quarter of a mile. Like, when you look at the stats from the early 70s, I mean like 1.5, 2 seconds quicker in a quarter mile than a Porsche or a Ferrari. And yet, for the price of an affordable motorcycle. Wow. Too much power, really, for the bike itself. When you see these, they've frequently been modified. This one hasn't. It is completely standard. It is one of the best restorations I've ever seen coming through Manor Park, and I've seen a few now. It's absolutely fantastic. I cannot find a fault with it. Wonderful piece of kit. The estimate, 15, it reflects it. It reflects the standard of the restoration and the rarity of the bike. 15 to 17,000 pounds is the estimate on what is a perfect, I'm saying it, it's perfect. Find fault with this bike. I double dare you. You won't. 15, and even people I know who come here who know these bikes back to front, this one is absolutely spot on. 17,000 miles from new, but subject to a literally no expense bird restoration, which has been beautifully done. The 1974 Kawasaki H2B Mach IV. Love it. Now, I'm not saying I like this Lambretta Li Special as much as I like that Kawasaki, but obviously I've got a soft spot. I took my test on one of these, my brother's. And today, after I've done this, I'm going round to my brother's so that we can take his scooter for MOT. How many years later? 43 years later. Yeah, he's stuck with these. He didn't move on like I did. And I still like them. This is a really nice one. Lambretta Li 175. Yeah, wow, right, okay. It's got a 175 upgrade. They didn't do them as standard. But there's a lovely badge there. Yeah, 175. Would have been a 125 or a 150. 4-speed, hand control gearbox, well, gear change. Complete running bike in great condition. New hydraulic braking system. What? What? Let's have a look down there. Yeah, look at that. Instead of the old drum that was a bit kind of useless, yeah, you got nice hydraulic brake. Thing might actually stop. New seat, full UK V5, HPI clear in great condition. The estimate 3,750. Yeah, these things are worth money. 3,750 to 4,250 of your English pounds. There is some damage. When I say it could stop, I've been alerted by my friend and colleague here, because he pays attention and I tend not to, that perhaps it didn't stop quite as quickly as it's had a little bit of a bump there. But apart from that, the paintwork's great. Yeah. Nice rorty little pipe. A sterling pipe. I had a Fresco on mine, and it made that proper ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding sound. Yeah, my parents really enjoyed having that coming down our street at 1:30 in the morning. Which is why my dad made me ride to the town centre, shut off the engine, and then course downhill to our house. Those were the days. I had one of these, a Jet 200. It was this colour. I got it from Heaton Park Cycles in Manchester, and I rode it to my first job as the assistant manager of the Stead & Simpson shoe shop in the Arndale Centre. Yeah, and if that isn't evocative, I don't know what is. It got nicked mine. This isn't mine, is it? No. Right, so a Civetta is a Lambretta that was made in Spain. Like a Seat was a Fiat that was made in Spain. The Jet 200, it was basically the SX200, and so it had the world's first, on a powered two-wheeler, ventilated disc brakes, Phil. See, this is why I get my money, because I know stuff like that. Yeah. And in the 1980s, Honda said, hey, we've got the world's first ventilated, and people went, no, Lambretta, mate. For once, it's not you, Honda, it's Lambretta. Who sold this? Arthur Francis. They are, well, there's a badge there for Arthur Francis. Arthur Francis were the iconic Lambretta dealers back in the day and did all sorts of tuned-ups. They sold a lot of machines. People forget Lambretta sold literally hundreds of thousands of machines in the UK. Of course, that's not a Lambretta, it's a Civetta. But somebody's put a Lambretta badge on it. The restoration is fantastic, the paintwork is great, the seats, this is all really high quality stuff. There isn't a mark on this machine from 1974, and the estimate reflects the condition and the amount of money that's been spent on it, because some of you are going to be very surprised when I tell you that the estimate is £5,500 to £6,000, but it is an absolute minter. Lambretta, Innocenti Lambretta. I went to Italy in the 80s with my friend John to buy scooters and parts. And we went to all the addresses in the worldwide Lambretta dealer book. And we'd walk through the door and I would intone in perfect Italian, Ricambio originali Innocenti Lambretta. At which point they think I could speak Italian, which I couldn't. And that led to issues, which we sorted. We had a lot of fun. It was great. It was a long time ago though. But people still love these scooters because the styling is timeless, really, isn't it? I mean, they look cool back in the day, and as a motorcyclist, you might think, well, I don't think it looks cool. Yeah, but everybody else does. Which is why when advertisers or filmmakers want to evoke Italian style, they often use the classic Vespa or Lambretta scooter, and that's why they still have a massive following to this day and are still considered to be valuable. Especially this one, because this is a Lambretta Li125 Series 3, so it's a lot sexier. The earlier ones were a bit more sort of bulbous, a bit more lump, and not as sexy and svelte and stylish as this one. This is the Series 3, like our kid had. Our kid had one of these, as I think I've already said. 125 two-stroke, single cylinder, obviously. Lots of new parts fitted, beautifully restored. It has been beautifully restored. Whatever you think of it as a piece of kit, it has been beautifully restored. It's got all the correct badging, panels, things like these, the shark's teeth, we used to call these, for the footboard runners. They were impossible to find until me and my mate went to Italy and found loads of them. Speedos, you couldn't get them, you couldn't get the switch gear. So we thought, I bet they've got this in Italy. And they had. 9 miles since the restoration, £3,500 to £4,000 on that lovely Lambretta Li125 Series 3. Ooh. What a shiny bike. I'll tell you what, when they say a stunning restoration, look at this. Better than brand new. Of course it's better than brand new. Do you think they would have polished the rear hub like that? Do you think it would have been a perfect mirror when this bike was new? This bike is better than brand new. Suzuki GT250. It's got ram air. Of course it's got ram air. The ram air system there. It's a 2-stroke twin, UK bike. Oh, wow, it's a UK bike, this one, okay. From 1975. Restored over the last 5 years, the guy spent on this. Full engine refurb. It's only done 18 miles since the engine was completely rebuilt. All the chrome work has been restored or replaced with original. Wow, it's perfect. It really is. Fantastic. Powder coated frame, fresh paint. Yeah, of course it is. Old is gold. Look at that. Look at that. Lustrous. That's the word I'd use, Phil. Would it correct, do you think? Lustrous? Because the luster, that referred... 3 years I won the Latin prize at the grammar school. Yeah, it's coming out now. It's coming useful now, isn't it? Luster refers to the glimmer of gold. That's what I'm getting at. That lovely pinstriping on there. It's better than a brand new bike. 4,000 to 4,500. The 75 Suzuki GT 2-stroke twin-cylinder GT250M in Aztec gold. Sum up the 70s in one motorcycle. That one. There has been, in recent times, a lot of street scrambler action from the mainstream motorcycle manufacturers, trying to cash in on the cachet of that 60s cool that such a motorcycle brings, really aiming it at people who don't want to perhaps ride too far, but, you know, wherever they're going, they want to look good doing it in that kind of Bell-Staffy, you know what I mean? Bell-Staffy 60s style. Timberland, not Timberland boots, Red Wings. Red Wings. Yeah, I like Red Wings. I like Chippewa as well, but these are Red Wings. Red Wing boots, proper Levi, real Levi's with a selvage denim, Bell-Staff jacket, and a bike like this except brand new. Well, here's an idea. Why not get the real thing for possibly less money? 1960 Triumph 5T Speed Twin, the classic Speed Twin, Edward Turner's genius design, this one on the single carburettor. 4-speed gearbox, complete running bike, superb street scrambler makeover. Yeah, these are a bit staid in standard trim. And so somebody sexed it up and made it a lot more, this is going to sound a bit mad, a lot more now by making it look like it's from the 60s. Do you get me? You do. So instead of looking like a police bike or your granddad's bike, it looks like something that Steve McQueen might have used to sort of, you know, pop along to his favourite drinking spot. I've been there. It's called The Pub. And it was in... He moved up the coast to try and not get in trouble, and then apparently spend all his days drinking and carousing and riding motorcycles, like this one. 1960, complete running bike, superb street scrambler makeover. Felipe, could you come close? Right, answer me this question. This modified yoke, are the fork legs closer together than they would, a little bit closer together than they perhaps would be on the standard machine? You're saying, well, how's that possible? Look at that nice little alloy, weight saving. This has all been polished up. Beautifully done this. The paint job's fantastic. No pegs on the back, but you've got a nice big saddle. Yeah, this is just for like bobbling along, open face Davida crash helmet, barrel folded goggles. Yeah, all the gear. I'm talking the right language, aren't I? I know all about it. Yeah, I like a bit of that, mate. And this would be the perfect machine. Not a modern homage to that, the real thing from 1960. Triumph 5T Speed Twin. Don't know too much more about it, but I tell you what, the estimate on that is only £4,000 to £4,500. Don't forget, there are fees on top of that. There's 15% buyer's premium on the hammer price. And of course, there is a fee of £300 minimum plus that per bike. That's in the next sale. I think that's one of the best looking motorcycles ever made. Look at that BSA in amazing condition. Yeah, with the big off-road tyres on it. That's not, no, Phil, it's not in this sale, it's in the next sale. Moving swiftly on, yeah. Now we've got our mezzanine, we've got so much extra room for bikes. To me, one of the most interesting bikes of the 1970s, the Honda CB350-4. Slower than the twin, the 350 twin. Not as quick off the line as the 350 twin, but super smooth. Everything that the CB750 had been, but in a smaller package. When it was released in the early 70s, people said, Honda have lost the plot. What are they playing at? Nobody wants a a slower, more expensive bike when you already sell a twin-cylinder machine, which has got the same capacity, but more performance and is less expensive to buy. Who on earth would buy this? Well, because it was, as road testers at the time said, the smoothest motorcycle you could possibly own. It was kind of Honda saying, yeah, we can do this. We can make a 350 four-cylinder motorcycle with a front disc and a rear drum brake, a 5-speed gearbox, electric start and a kickstarter. All kinds of equipment, beautifully put together, beautifully finished. This one has done 60,000 kilometers since 1972, but it's still in very presentable, very usable condition. And like I say, a bike that often gets overlooked, but if nothing else, it's just evidence that Honda truly believed that they should build not just a motorcycle, but a powered two-wheeler for everyone. And this was a bike that appealed to people who wanted something smooth and sophisticated, the sort of person that might have bought a Lancia car back in 1974, which wasn't necessarily as fast as the equivalent. It was a lot more expensive, but they just recognised quality when they saw it. You know, like with me. Phil's pulling a face again. It's kind of in the same condition all the way through. It's been well looked after. Yes, it's got relatively big miles on it, but it has been looked after. It's in what we call rideable condition. We see a lot of bikes here, and they are so beautifully restored, so absolutely mint and perfect. The first time you rode it, you kind of break the spell. That's a very usable bike, and 2,000 to 2,500 is the estimate. That's what we think the hammer will fall at. And don't forget, as I said, there are fees on top of that. Craig Vetter was a young man who had an idea. The only thing that was wrong with the Triumph at the time, the Triumph Triple, was that the styling was a bit staid. And it was, let's not forget, the early 70s, when the world was getting groovy. So he designed this body kit, if you will, styled this body kit to go with the Triumph Triple. The X75 Hurricane, a very rare bike, based on a 750 Triumph 5-speed gearbox. Originally, this would have been an American bike, so it was sold new in the States, imported to the UK in 2025. It is not perfect, but look at those triple exhausts there. How fantastic is that? Wow. This is like the motorcycle equivalent of a Ferrari Daytona or a Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. Pure 70s style, but behind that, the performance of the Triumph Triple, which is considerable. Triumph was still winning races back in the day with Percy Tate and Slippery Sam and all that sort of thing, back when this bike was new in 1972. It's a rare machine. It's really made by this body kit, which, as I say, was, I think Craig Vetter was like 22 or something. He's still with us, Craig Vetter. He's not like this bike, he's still with us. I love those bars as well. It's a British bike by manufacture, and yet in almost everything else, the styling and everything else, it's just pure Americana, isn't it? The estimate, brace yourselves, new tyres, yeah, it's not perfect. Look, it's had a life. It's done what? Oh, it's only done 9,000 miles from brand new. It's done 9,000 miles from brand new, but that's been enough to pick up the wear and tear that you can see from the camera work that Phil's putting in here. We've got a V5, registered as historic, matching numbers, which is important to a lot of people because you're making an investment here. We reckon that this rare and beautiful motorcycle, I love it, is going to sell for between £16,000 and £18,000 in Friday's motorcycle sale. The X75 Hurricane, great name, great looking bike, rare, distinctive, love those handlebars. Something equally evocative is the Suzuki AP50. There was the Fizzy. There was the Honda SS50. Maybe a nation like Japan shouldn't have produced a machine called an SS, but they did. That was a 4-stroke, wasn't it? Bloody Honda. What were they like? There was the Fizzy, there was the AP. What was the Kawasaki? Was there a Kawasaki? There probably was. And then there was all kinds of French and Italian-made 50s. Malaguti Montes, Garelli Tiger Cross, that sort of thing. But the Suzuki AP50, for a lot of people, in fact, when I say a lot of people, it'll be the lads who had one, won't it? The lads who had one back in 1976 will think, that's the same colour as mine, Berry. How much? Well, this air-cooled single-cylinder 2-stroke with 9 brake horsepower, mine did 50. Yeah, did it. With you crouched down, sat right back here like that. Going down that big hill, Blackstone Edge, going down Blackstone Edge. 2 fingers on the clutch. Don't forget, I still ride with 2 fingers. Whatever I'm riding, don't matter, electric bike, 2 fingers on the clutch. It hasn't got a clutch. You can't, if you started on these or similar, you can't stop yourself, can you? It's just the way we're made. 4,750 to 5,250. It runs and rides, part of a small private collection. It's had a sympathetic restoration. The lads are good. I think that choice of wordage is pretty appropriate for them. It's not been over-restored. It's not been made like a Fabergé egg. It's just as it was back in 1970. Did I say 1976? I did. And it's done, actually, the miles are pretty big. 18,710 miles. A lot of them flat out, I should imagine, at 50 miles. Mine did 50. Did it really? Yeah. 4,750 to 5,250 on an AP50. You'd have thought that, eh? When they were a few years old and you could buy one out of the Bolton Evening News for 25 quid. But they are. That's how much they're worth, because nostalgia is a powerful thing. I'd say what else is a powerful thing. Feel it's my favourite out of this sale, but then again it would be, wouldn't it? Oh my God. Ducati 900 SS square case bevel twin. They're like the magic words, aren't they? One of the all-time classics, one of the best looking motorcycles ever made. Original UK supply bike, great provenance. Now, the lads have told me, they said, oh yeah, the bloke who had this was Mike Elwood's mechanic, and he raced this bike. So I'm thinking, well, who would that be? Because of course, when we think of Mike Elwood and Ducati, we think of Manchester's own sports motorcycles, owned by Steve Wynn. No, not the casino guy, the other Steve Wynn. And we think of Mike Elwood's incredible comeback at the Isle of Man. But because not necessarily, it might have been his Honda mechanic who had a Ducati. Whatever. You could buy this bike and subsequently find out the amazing history. I mean, it's been around now for nearly 50 years. Just one of the old-time classics, isn't it? Look at this, Margiocchi. I talked about this earlier. A lot of building a bike in Italy is doing the frame and the engine and then getting everything else from some of the best component suppliers in the world, like on this bike, Marciocchi, Brembo, Conti. See, that was the great thing about building a bike there. Oh, the same as in the UK. You had all sorts of people, Del Auto, who could supply you the parts. Koni, not Italian, I'll hold my hand over there, but they are Koni shocks on it. Look at this, triple discs and cast wheels on a motorcycle in 1979. That was high tech. But I don't know about you, but if I stand back here and look at it, I just think, has there ever been a better looking motorbike? Probably not. Even the font that they used for Ducati in that era, 900 Super Sport, they weren't kidding, were they? Cast wheels, triple discs. That was a big deal back then. Kickstart, of course. Has it got electric start as well on this? Electric start? No, sir. Oh, my goodness me. What a bike. I love this job. Love it. 33,750 miles on it. Highly collectible, as the lads put here. One of the most collectible bikes we've ever had through Manor Park. Because they're hitting, this bike is hitting exactly right now, isn't it? Because I'm here, 61 years young, looking at it thinking, oh, if I had the money, abso-blinking-lutely. We're exactly the right age to just be in awe of this machine. And these are the best colours, black and, never mind red. No, Ducati should be red. Gold frame, black and gold, fabulous. Like a JPS from the same era, the Lotus Grand Prix car. Except better than that, because it's a motorbike. 17 to 19,000, bargain. Bargain. One of the greatest road bikes of all time. Not one of the greatest road bikes of all time. Well, yeah, actually. Having said that, RD250 LC, RD250 LC. Matching numbers, beautiful restoration. We're seeing a lot of these coming through here, these classic two-strokes, restored to an insanely high standard like this one. 16,095 miles, yeah, MPH. This must be a UK bike. We've got MPH clocks here. 0 miles since it was restored. Beautifully. Again, no expense spared. Paintwork is perfect. Saddle, wheels, everything down here. Fiddling around down here, looking for dirt, not finding it. New tyres, I bet. Yeah, new tyres. Brand new paint, brand new Delcovic exhaust system. Yeah, look at that. Well, I bet that sounds fantastic. We've got the V5, we've got 2 keys. Tax and MOT exempt. Wow, an RD250 LC is now tax and MOT exempt. Feeling old? Yeah. But feeling young, thinking about having a go on one of these. Getting this home and giving it a damn good seeing to. Beautiful restoration, love it. Not sure about these white letter tyres, but you could deal with that. Period. It's period berry. They were like that back then. £5,500 to £6,000. Don't seem a lot, that. On the 82 Yamaha RD250 LC. Its predecessor, and I think a better looking bike, but what do I know? 1980 Yamaha RD250, the coffin tank RD, as the lads say. Yeah, I can see that. Coffin shaped, beautiful. Again, a lovely restoration. Like I said, we're getting a lot of these, and because, again, I'm repeating myself, I know I do it, just have a go at me in the comments. I know you love that. I read all of them. Yeah, even the nasty ones. RD250, air-cooled, 6-speed. Were these a 6-speed? Yeah, in 1980. Registered as historic, had a colour change in 2016. Very nicely done. There are some marks on it. It's not as mint as the 250 LC we just saw. But, it, you know, you've really got to have a good old look before you find fault with it. Cast wheels, double discs, or is it a... Yeah, it was double disc, this, wasn't it? Yeah, of course it was. This was a sporting machine. This was hot stuff back in the day. Electric start. Who needs electric start? It's only a 250, come on. He said going to kick it over and finding out that it starts. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? No, don't do that. Right. You want to know how much it is? All right, I'm looking. The lads have put £4,500 to £5,000. 22,000 miles this one's done since 1980. Very tidy. Yeah, again, well done, lads. You're getting good at this. Tidy, it is. It's not a Minter. It's not for Concours. It's tidy. It's rideable. It looks great. I bet it sounds great. And it's cheap enough at £4,500 to £5,000. Suzuki GT250. We had one earlier that was just like beyond good. I mean, just way better than it came out of the factory. Here is an example of the same machine, the GT250, which at the time offered performance which was on a par with bigger bikes, but in a 250 package, what with its ram air system, 2-stroke, twin cylinder, 2 carburetors. Come on. 6-speed gearbox, had a colour change in 1996. It's got 16,000 miles on it. We've got the full UK V5. and it is clean and tidy and running. It's not perfect like that other one. The other one was perfect. The chrome work isn't the greatest. It's very good, but it's, yeah. I mean, look at the front mudguard. It's been polished up, but it's 51 years old, for goodness sake. So here's a bike, whoever painted that wants putting up against the wall and shooting, but not great. The tank's good-ish. The saddle's great. The chrome work back here is good. It's kind of, as the lads say, a clean, tidy, rideable example of this bike. And unlike the other one, we think that this one, the clean and tidy one, rather than the absolutely perfection one, will sell for between £3,000 and £3,500 in the sale this coming Friday at Manor Park. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. The people say we're monkeying around. Monkey! Ah, monkey. See, 3 in 1. Johnny Vegas monkey, the monkeys, and, you know, like, monkey, the old... Do you remember Monkey? The What Imagines of Yang Shang Po? No? He was in that. He had, like, magical powers. It's great. This bike's got magical powers. It can turn your frown upside down. I mean, how could you feel depressed or like stressed out or whatever if you were riding this? I mean, look at it. It's just fun on wheels, isn't it? 2019 Honda Z125. Thank goodness it's a 125, so it's got a bit of go. Air-cooled 5-speed. It's got ABS. A monkey bike with ABS, you say? Yes. Right, say you wanted to commute affordably and quickly, because across town you couldn't beat one of these, and you don't want to do it on a little electric scooter because they're illegal, unless it's a rental one, although the police don't seem to mind. Oh, bit of controversy there, Berry. Yeah, but I'm saying, perhaps if they clamp down on the illicit and illegal use of electric scooters, motorcycle retailers would find it easier to sell people affordable commuter bikes with a legal number plate subject to insurance, MOT, etc. So a controversial viewpoint, but one that nonetheless I think you'll find is true. Back to the bike, Z125, delivery mileage only, and very cheap. What a lot of fun you could have on that, and save a lot of money by using it to commute on, because you won't get across town cheaper. Look at it, it's brand new. But we reckon it'll sell for between £2,000 and £2,500. That will go for more, I think, £2,000 to £2,500. If you want to get across town, you don't want to ride a scooter or something dull looking. You want something with a bit of style, a bit of substance. That, despite being a lot of fun, is a very efficient, effective, comfortable and safe way of getting. It's got ABS, for goodness sake. Proper engine, proper 125 engine in it. You won't be holding up traffic. You'd be zipping along. People are going, look at that guy. Look at that old guy. He's got a lot of style. That's what they'd be saying if it was me. Not if it was Phil, obviously, but... Right, next one. Downstairs. Let's go downstairs. Welcome to Project Corner. Yamaha RD125, or at least most of it. RD125DX 1980. 124cc. It says single. They're not singles, these, are they? Yeah, they are singles, Berry, you idiot. But it has 2 carburetors for improved throttle response and sort of, you know, cleaner carburation and more effective and more immediate use of the power available. He said, trying to distract attention from the fact that things like the swinging arm and the back wheel seem to be absent. It's HPI clear. We've got a full V5 for it. Helpfully on the back, it tells us it is a 1980 Yamaha 125DX. So that would have been, yeah, kickstart. Was it electric start also? No. Why do I keep thinking that these 2-strokes are electric start? No, of course it is an electric start. It's a 2-stroke. That saddle cover is aftermarket and a recent addition, I think. Got a bit of a nick in it there. The paintwork on the side panels of the tank is good. Everything up the front could do with cleaning up. It's a project bike. Part of it is missing. No reserve on that one. We've got a Harley-Davidson SS350 Sprint. Ayamaki. Yeah, that's the important word, isn't it? It wasn't like the Americans that built that. It was the Italians. But When Harley Davidson were taken over, like, people get confused between Aomaki and AMF. American Machine and Foundry took over Harley Davidson. Weirdly, although they got Foundry in their name, they did all sorts of things, but they were perhaps best known for glass fibre. Lots of things they made out of glass fibre, like bowling alleys, all the equipment for bowling alleys. They acquired Aomaki because they wanted to go racing in this class. Now, obviously, these handlebars, which I think are known as beach bars or mini apes, correct me in the comments, look, they are not for racing, are they? However, this fairing, that tank there, maybe, just the tank cover that, isn't it? I think so. There's a spare engine down here. Have we got another engine? Yeah, there's 2 engines available. 3 saddles, yeah. The whole bike's not there, but there are 3 saddles available for this bike. It's a Project. Yep, 350cc single, 4-stroke. We've got no V5, but we do have the Nova documents, so it's up to you to then go through the process of getting a V5 if you want to put it on the road. Partly completed project, large amount of parts, 3 saddles. Where else are you going to get 3 saddles in a single sale? Manor Park. The estimate is $750 to $1,250 on the 67 because it is desirable. It's a desirable bike when it's done, but that bit's up to you. SS350 Sprint, $750 to $1,250 on that one from 1967. Right, there's a Goldwing here somewhere. 1980 Honda GL1100 Goldwing. You know how much I like these if you watch these videos. This one has got a Vetta Windjammer. Yes, Windjammer. Fairing because, of course, Honda didn't originally envisage the Goldwing as a tourer. They thought it was a muscle bike, like something to smoke the back wheel and sort of race from stoplight to stoplight against Camaros and Mustangs and stuff like that. But the buyers of Goldwings thought better. They went, no, this is a touring bike. And people like Craig Vetter came along and designed, while still very young, this fairing, this luggage, which is pretty damn groovy. Maybe not to all tastes, or indeed most tastes, but in great condition with these painted panels. Look at this at the back. How many backlights do you want? Loads. Like a Chevrolet Corvette. Very car style. Hey, look at this. It's got a stereo. Has it got a stereo? Yeah, damn right. It's got a stereo. Audio line. A radio cassette player. Graphic equalizer. This Sanyo. Do you remember them? Sanyo speakers. Waterproof. Well, maybe water resistant. 44,335 kilometres. Yeah, kilometres, because you'd think, well, that's really early to have one of those fairings on it and all that. We believe the bike was sold new in Belgium. Obviously, it's got a V5 because it's got a plate on the back. Very original condition, electric start, 5-speed, shaft drive, 1100cc, flat 4, 44,000 kilometres from new. All the Craig Vetter luggage on it and all that. Super cheap. The estimate is $3,250. 1980, that wing. $3,250 to $3,750, the estimate on that one. Harley Davidson. Another Harley Davidson, very different to the last one that you saw, i.e. much more like we'd expect from Harley Davidson. And so 2015 FLHRC Road King Classic. So Road King, but with, when they say classic, they mean driving lamps, more chrome, white walled tyres, crash bars, footboards instead of foot pegs, this sort of faux leather saddle bag, which looks like a soft bag, but it's very much a hard case. Look at the pipes on this. What are these, Vance & Hines? Yeah, Vance & Hines pipes. I bet they sound cool. Nice registration on this. Nice 3 and 3 registration as well that comes with the bike. Screaming Eagle variant. Ah, right, yes. So, Vance & Hines pipes and a Vance & Hines... Oh, and a Screaming Eagle, which is Harley's own performance division. You know that. It's had a bit of wear and tear, this. How many miles are on this bike? It is a touring bike, but only 13,000 miles. The MOT's until September this year. Like I said, 13,000 miles from new. Isle of Man registered. Yeah, that's why it's got a 3 and 3. Yeah, but, you know... V5 and all that. 2 keys, really nice example, 13,000 miles from new. All the retro stuff that you might expect or want. Footboards for the passenger and the rider, rack on the back, saddle bags, old school cool. Like a 57 Chevy on 2 wheels, except with the reliability and the performance and the road holding and the braking. Seems a bit odd to talk about that on a big, massive, great big lump of Americana like this. I love it, by the way. I don't think I'm being disparaging. I love these. They're great. The Road King, proper touring bike. Look at the brake pedal on this. It's bigger than the one in my car. Look at that. Yeah. King of the road. These big old crash bars there for when it inevitably falls off its stand. Considerably cheaper than anything nearly new at under 5 figures, 4 figures, 8,500 to 9,000. The Road King Classic with white wall tyres, Vance & Hines, pipes, special air cleaner, all the stuff on there. 6-speed gearbox, belt drive, of course, to the rear wheel, the big fat rear wheel. If you're into your Harleys, you know all about them. I like this. It's a hog, baby. And then this is my hog. Yeah, look at that. These driving lamps, spikes on there, because of course, what you want to do when it's in the garages, you want to walk past it in the dark and like get you like, ah! That, right, I guarantee, buy this bike by all means, but I'm just warning you, that will happen one day and you'll think, they're going. They are going. Put the normal ones back on. But apart from that, look at the screen, it's perfect, not a scratch on it. Great, love it. And under 5 figures, find that anywhere else. Right. What about this thing in the corner? Another Panther. This was MOT'd by Vic Rhodes in Burnley, Lancashire. Vic Rhodes Motorcycle. Hello, Vic Rhodes Motorcycles. What, you want an MOT? Bring it in next Thursday. Yeah, fantastic. Of course, built just over the border, the Panther. Was it Keighley they made these? I think it was. Put me right in the comments. It was just over the border from Benelli. Right, so at the front here, we've got this sort of leading link. Come round the front here, Felipe, because this is an unusual setup, although quite common on sidecar combinations. And that motor, that big sloper there, 600 cc's, he said. 500, I didn't say that, 600. 600cc, that was well known for firing every lamppost, they used to say. That big sloper there, look at that. Single cylinder. Dump, dump, dump. Very good at pulling along a sidecar combination. And if you had a sidecar, you'd often fit these. I'm saying these are leading link, not Hossack, Earls. Earls, Hossack, leading link. Put me right. I think there's a bit of home brew going on here. Look at that Jaguar mascot. Bit optimistic there. This motorcycle attended the centenary rally of the Panther Owners Club in the year 2000. And again, what did they call this? A dolphin fairing like that. Like the bottle nose of a dolphin. All alloy sidecar. Again, it has the look of something homemade, but well made. Alloy for lightweight, obviously. Would you get 2 people in there? Probably two kids. Come on, kids. In you get. Fantastic. Spare wheel there. Look at that, it carries a spare wheel. A car wheel, I think. Is that a car wheel? Oh, that'd be for the sidecar, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, mind you, it's got a car tyre on the front. Yeah, because of course, the motorcycle doesn't lean going around corners, and therefore, it makes more sense to fit a big old car tyre. They look like they're off a taxi or something like that. 1954, it's a Model 100 combination. That's a lot of equipment for between £3,000 and £3,500. I'm quite surprised. Because I think, mind you, there'll be somebody sat at home now watching this thinking, boy, that guy's annoying. But also, yeah, right on my Strasser. Look at this van mirror here. Looks like it's off my dad's Sherpa van. So you can see what was behind. Another mirror. It's got four rear view mirrors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count them. Name me another motorcycle we've ever had in this sale that had 4 rear view mirrors. That might be my bike of the sale. The night might be, it's not. 1954 Panther Model 100, £3,000 to £3,500 in our motorcycle sale this Friday at Manor Park. Right, that one's sold. Pay no attention to it, lovely though it is. When a bike is consigned for sale here at Manor Park, it is on sale from the moment it arrives. So if somebody offers the right money before the auction, it's gone. These two are available. 2007 Suzuki RM250, full rebuilt, ready to go. 249cc, two-stroke single, full engine rebuild by Motrac with an invoice to back up that claim. Hot rod crankshaft and Suzuki bearings, water pump rebuilt, clutch pack checked and cleared, all new old stock, genuine Suzuki gaskets and seals. Stunning example of a great machine, RM250, classic of its kind. Hard to believe that it's almost 20 years old now. Long-term ownership of one person who looked after it. Part of a small private collection, 2,750 to 3,250 on the fully rebuilt, fully restored RM250, which is ready to rock and roll. But are you? You need to register to bid in our sale. You got to be in it to win it. Now, Felipe, shall we go round that side so you can... I'll tell you what, you go round there and I'll speak about this Yamaha YZF-R1 possibly from the same place that this Suzuki came, because restored to a similar standard, i.e. very much ready to go, fully rebuilt, new plastics plus the originals. We've got the original plastics plus these new ones. Things have been polished, things have been prepped, the engine's been fully rebuilt. Like we say, it's ready to go. New saddle, new plastics, new, and the estimate on this one, 2010 YZR250F. All that polishing, and then it's just going to get dirty, isn't it? But doesn't it look great? Saucy. £2,500 to £3,000 on the 2010 or 2010. Phil prefers 2010. That's why I say it. Don't blame me. I just read this stuff. Barely able to read it out, really. But £2,500 to £3,000 to make this considerably less shinier. Seems a shame, really, but that's what it's for, isn't it? You can almost hear it, can't you? Fantastic. £2,500 to £3,000 on that one. Right, it's our biggest sale ever this Friday, isn't it, lads?
It is.
But don't forget, we'll all be here this Thursday, if you're watching this early, for the first of our Throttle Thursdays. We'll all be here, but Steve Plater will also be here, won't he?
He will, absolutely.
How did we persuade him to do that?
Money.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. And the dog's here. And the dog's here.
And the dog's here. So Throttle Thursday, the first of this Thursday here at Manor Park. Come down, see our beautiful mess, and on Friday, it's our biggest ever bike sale. So get online, register to bid, or better still, come down and meet us. What a thrill, eh?
What a thrill.